Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Anon here. Hey, tomorrow is the official global launch for Solo Leveling Arise. So with that, I just want to give, I suppose, quick tips from early access / endgame player on what to do or what to watch. So in the beginning, when you created this account, you can actually reroll. And the reroll is pretty easy. Once you pass through the tutorial, you'll do most of these stories, right? You know, and you go through the tutorial stages. That's what you're probably gonna be doing in the beginning, you know, or I think until, I'm not sure if it's chapter 3 or chapter 5. Basically, in one of these chapter, Sun Jingwu will then change job into what do you call it, the monarch or something like that, I think. So once that's done, then you can actually then do the gacha, okay, and you get all of the pre-registration reward and so on and so forth, and then you can do gacha. Now once you've done that, you can actually do, it's called a draw here. You can gacha, right? You draw, and you won't have silver bag here, but you will have the Chaharin as the launch character, I suppose. So as for reroll, Chaharin is probably one of your best DPS that you can get at the start for global players. Okay, now for me, for early access, our first banner was Choi Jong-in, and he is still by far now the best DPS, kind of like a, how do you put it, a glass cannon DPS. So I would suggest for you to actually gacha or trying to get the Chaharin, or this is the basically the rate up, we call it the rate up banner, right? But on the normal banner here, you will get plenty of these normal tickets. All right, so you have, you know, the rate up ticket, and then you also have the normal ticket. This normal ticket you can get a lot by just doing the story, but also you will complete challenges here. When you complete challenges, as you can see here, you get new draw tickets. Okay, so 10, you know, one multi basically, and you can, by finishing the chapters, you can get those. And then they have plenty of like good kind of upgrade materials and gold. You need a lot of gold, and then so you will also get some units here. And then when you finish at later stages, you can actually get a SSR weapon. Let me try and find this, chapter 9. So chapter 9, you get one SSR weapon, which is this one. So do not re-roll for this, because you will get 2 of them. So you get it on chapter 9, and the other one is when you finish chapter 12, you get another one. Okay, so tubes are good for this game, but try and reroll for something else. As for rerolling suggestion, I would highly suggest, as you can see there, these popularities here. If you are trying to reroll for characters or hunters, reroll for these two. These two are the most, I suppose, useful for almost a lot of different content. Okay, I will explain to you after why. And as for weapons, for hunters, then the other one, the third selection would be Min Byung-gu. He is a buffer and / semi healer, but mostly buffer to buff your damage. And the other one is quite handy is that's his name, Baekyeon-hu, right? Baekyeon-hu is very good breaker and a light DPS, not DPS, I suppose, you know, a light breaker. So there are 2 functionality here. You know, a lot of enemy units have shields, And I suppose the funny enough is a lot of units that have shield on our side actually can break shield on the enemy. So it's just something to bear in mind. And the other one would be pure DPS. So like, like this type of sword is pure DPS, and this arrow also kind of pure DPS, and this mage is also kind of like almost pure DPS. There's no break or little break that they can do. Okay, why they have shield and why you need breakers? Because if you don't break the shield, then you don't do as much damage, which you really want to do a lot of damage. Okay, so the next one for weapon, which is important, so I would suggest you try and reroll for these two, or maybe even combination like this is also fine. The other one that you want to reroll for is these two weapons. These two weapons are one of the best damage scaling weapons, because it gives you, the plum gives you crit, and this one gives you another let me try and have a look, a buff. So it has this increased damage taken, basically increase the user damage, so it's increasing damage to the enemy and your damage, so it's really good. And this one is increasing crit, which you will see that this game crit is one of the best I suppose statistic that you will need, stats that you will need for your Sun Jing Wu and for your hunters. Okay, so these are my recommendations to who and what to reroll, because both of them are equally important. The weapons are equally as important as the hunters, because the mode, the game mode, there will be hunters only, and there will be Sun Jing Wu with hunters, which you will need Sun Jing Wu weapons to help Sun Jing Wu to be better. Another kind of, I suppose, potential is to help kind of early stages is this book. This book have a freezing mechanic. So if I go to details here in this, you can actually see the skill preview. Now this one, this will freeze the enemy, and it's AoE damage, and it's quite powerful. So that book is pretty handy, but in the end games, not so much, because how do you call it, the attack can be interrupted by an enemy, right, and by bosses especially, and it's not fast. The other one that's good is this pistol, right? This pistol is pretty good to actually help you break, and also one of the light only weapon that is available that is pretty good. Okay, so this is also pretty good. So this is what my selection list at the moment, because I'm looking for dupes. So when you reroll, once you do the draws here, once you do the gacha, if you didn't get anything, then just go to your account, right? Go to your account here, okay, and just delete account, and that's it. Very easy. Okay, and then you restart the game and you relog in again using guest account. Only once you are happy with your account selection, when you get the hunters, then you do your account binding. And I suggest using the netmarble email rather than Google or Apple or Facebook and this like that. Just do create a new email account and create a new netmarble account. Okay, so in terms of the units that I use the most, right, in the end game, are these units, pretty much these 9. So Xiu Jiwu, because she has a really strong ultimate, right? Really strong, and you can kind of spam the basic skills quite often, because she's kind of like how do you call it, skill spammer type of unit. And then not only that, her basic skill also gives you a shield, and gives not only you a shield, all the other hunters also a shield. So she's pretty good kind of, I suppose, tank / breaker unit that is pretty handy and pretty useful for multiple different content, and I'll show you those content in shortly. Choi Jong-in at the moment is the highest DPS that I've got. You're probably gonna have Cha Hai-rin instead. Emma is very good at AoE damage, and she's pretty good damager as well, and breaker at the same time. Wu Jin-cho we've got free. I think we've got one copy of him for free, and then the basic weapon here, the exclusive weapon is also free. So each hunter has exclusive weapon, but that you cannot gacha the exclusive weapon. You can only craft the exclusive weapons. Okay, so don't worry about trying to chase the exclusive weapons. You can craft it, and there will be events. So at the moment we have, we have Silver Main Bike Yeonwoo as the red up unit, and they also have an event here where you can actually do missions, and you get the hunter weapon for free. All you need to do is just doing like login daily. If you are actually doing the gacha, you will get the weapon earlier. As I'm not really getting him, then I only get like some of these daily ones that it's easy. As you can see, this is unlimited. As long as you do gacha the banner, you get 10 tickets, and then you only need 100 tickets as opposed to get the weapon here. So this is the exclusive weapon. The more dupes you have, the better. I wasn't pursuing it at all, and you can also craft the weapon. You get like these shards, which will be converted into gold if you not crafting it in the end. So as you can see, 12 more hours, and then it will be gone and converted into gold. Okay, so yeah, so that's kind of like easy reroll. Now the hunters, back to the hunters. So we got him for free. This SR unit is pretty good for some of water-based content, which is, I'll show you later, servers needing that content. Baek Yeon-woo is very good light DPS breaker unit. So I suppose Baek Yeon-woo, Min Byung-gu, and Cha Hai-rin will be your light team set, for example, right? That's really good light team. Lee Ju-hee, she's very good healer and mana regen for your whole party. So all the basic skills and things like that needs mana, right? So she can top up your mana very quickly. So it's pretty handy for endgame content that use a lot of skills. Next one is Lim Tae-gyu. He's very good breaker / DPS. That's why I'm not trying to pursue the silver main Baek Yeon-woo, because I got him. Lee Bora is also pretty good debuffer and cleanser unit. So she can actually cleanse debuff around your area. However, she's not as useful for all content per se, because yeah, I'm not really using her a lot, and I haven't really built her. But she's very good unit. Just don't miss out. But she's not that great. Right now, Park Hee-jin is pretty good. She has plenty of AoE skills that would help you. So if you don't get any of the green unit, you can actually use her as one of your primary DPS. Yoo Jin-ho, you can get him free. He gives you shield similar to Seo Ji-woo, but you'll get him anyway, so you don't really need to worry about it. So the other ones here are, again, I'm not really building them. King Kang Tai-shik is pretty good, has a bleed, I think bleed, or I forgot.
Any objections?
Yeah, bleed. That is pretty handy for tanky bosses, but I'm not really using him because in the end game at the moment, bleed doesn't really work well. All you need to do is just do the quickest, the most DPS, the highest crit. Okay, so some other ones you can try and discover what they do in the game, but in terms of 9 primary units that I keep on using is this. Okay, now to the content. So the content you will, in the beginning, the daily is pretty much here on the left, right? Like you do the gates, you know, this is something that will refresh over time. Like I can do this rescan and, you know, you level up. This is, you're getting some of this material. Gold, this gold dungeon is pretty handy in the beginning, but at later stages, just don't do it, don't really need it. You're gonna want to do all of these purple ones in the highest tier if you can, and the blue ones also very handy for upgrade materials. Okay, so you do this, those daily, the reset. I think in the beginning you get 10 and then later on you get more. Now encore missions also the same. In the beginning I think you only have 3. Encore is pretty much where you farm equipments. So in the beginning you will get all of these equipments, right? And you only have few here that you can get, and try and get the highest tier. The highest tier will give you the legendary version of the equipments, right? The artifacts they call it. But these 2 will be your early stages, and then later on, once you go through the story stages, you will unlock the higher tier of the equipments. So in terms of upgrading equipments, try and wait until you get these ones. So if you upgrade this one, probably upgrade it only +5, but wait for these ones and wait for the yellow ones if you can, and upgrade them to 20. For these epic ones, just upgrade them to 10 if you are desperate, and the blue ones 5 is enough because you're gonna replace them very quickly if you do this daily. Okay, so these 2 are the hardest content, right? The hardest bosses, which yield the best gear. So there are 2 types of gear. There will be the artifacts, and the other artifacts here are the accessories. So there will be equipment and accessories. So these 2 also the same. Try and aim for the highest tier. So these instance dungeons will open up as you go through the story. I think Igris will be unlocked and Lycan will be unlocked around, I think story Igris is chapter 9, I think, or chapter 8, sorry, chapter 8. So chapter 8 here you're gonna fight Igris. Okay, so if I replay, yeah, so you'll fight Igris here on chapter 8. Once you finish that, then you'll unlock the highest instance dungeons. Okay, now the ones on the right, this is more on the I suppose PvE / leaderboard end game battles. Okay, so on these ones there will be 2 time trials. So the fastest time to complete, you know, the higher your ranking, like this one for example. This one this one is weekly reset, as you can see here. There's a certain rule every week that is changing, and you have to fight all of these bosses and stages the quickest you can. And then when you do that, then you will get rewards. You will be rewarded here, right? All of these rewards you will get, which is quite good and quite important. So this is pretty much, I suppose, the PvP of this game. So this game is PvE only, but because there is this ranking, this is where the whales would kind of like, you know, showcase themselves, and all the tryhards, F2P tryhards, will try and prove themselves. Okay, and the other one that's reset daily is Power of Destruction. So this is, again, it's the same. You have to create 2 teams, right? So you have to create 2 teams here to be able to complete this. Okay, you know, and as you can see here, most of people are using the units. As you can see, a lot of them are just using those units, mostly consisting of 1 breaker, 1 DPS, and 1 buffer. Okay, so I'll give you an example. In the previous rank, right, I've got rank 3. So this is kind of where people really try hard because the reward is pretty good. Okay, so the reward, if you can see here, you have destruction chest here that you get in if you're top 3. This is the good one because this will give you the hunter exclusive weapon design. You need 4 of this to create one hunter specific exclusive weapon. Okay, and unfortunately top 10 you don't get it, and top 25% you kind of don't get it. But the other part that is quite important is this one here, which is Powder of Blessing. The Powder of Blessing will give you a crafting material for the blessing. So if you go here, you can create two types. One is a skill rune and the other one is blessing stone. Okay, what are they? So if we go to Sun Jingwu, you have these blessing stones, which is buff, additional buff for Sun Jingwu, you know, and they are different for variety of different type of content. They are different that you can exchange that will give you buff. And the other one is skill rune, basically the skills that you can equip Sun Jingwu. There's a lot of skills here and each of them have very specific usage. Okay, so you can create preset here, which is kind of pretty good, like 3 different presets for different types of content. Okay, so you can exchange the skills and getting ready. So you know, this is the one that you will be kind of swapping and changing a lot. This is kind of the end game. The end game is you kind of trying to collect the highest tier of the skills, the highest tier of blessing stones, right, by crafting them or fusing them. All right, this is the end game kind of like activity. Pretty much, you do daily stuff, you do the power of destruction daily, you do the benefit of time weekly, and all of that on all the gates, collecting artifacts to create a better Sun Jingwu and the hunters. As you can see here, artifacts, right? So these are the ones that you will be collecting, upgrading, and the end game is basically you're trying to collect the skill stones or runes and the blessing stones here. That's pretty much the kind of the end game, right? Because the hunters are the same. The hunters, you will be collecting the artifacts, right? I'm still trying to get these specific artifacts. This is the end game. So similar to every single gacha game that you've done, and the annoying bit as well, that if you want to upgrade, there is a percentage of enhancement. So you need to also collect these enhancement chips or resources, which that's what you're doing those gates daily, right? So as you can see here, and you can fail when you are actually upgrading this. So if I upgrade this, that's a success, right? But sometimes it will fail, and that's annoying. So I don't know why. Maybe this is just a see, fail. And when you fail, it's cost you gold, and gold is really, really, really necessary in this game. A lot. You will be blocked in the beginning by gold, most likely. Okay. So yeah, so guys, and I'm trying to keep it short, but it's 20 minutes already plus. So yeah, just to recap, do your story in the first week, trying to get the highest and unlock all of this content as much as possible. These battle of trials, these don't really have time. You can clear them anytime. This also will give you every 5 floors you will get 5 tickets. So it's pretty handy, but you don't need to rush this. You can actually complete it complete it to complete the challenges, right? So when you're completing the challenges here, you'll get more tickets. There's a lot of tickets, as you can see here. So it's 120 tickets. There's 12 multi, okay, where this game has 80 PT, right? But around 60 to 70 you already have a soft PT, and usually I get something around 65 plus. because the rate is much higher, so they have soft PT around 65 to 70. So yeah, so try and unlock as many story as possible, unlock all of the grinding dungeons as much as possible, okay, because that will basically your end game. Okay, so that's a quick, well, not really quick, but that's the early tips for me as tomorrow you'll start. Oh yes, one more thing, sorry. Again, the hunters that are being used most of the time, okay, for the content, I'll go to themes. All right, so for Igris, the endgame Igris, right? So basically the highest tier, as you can see, I'm using Siojiwu, I'm using Min Biangu, I'm using 1 DPS, which is currently Choi, right? Lycan is similar. Lycan again, Siojiwu, with Emma and with Choi, okay? So again, the similar type of units that you use. All right, so for the hunter only, so sometimes you play with Sang Jinwoo and the hunters, and sometimes you just the hunters only. So the hunters only have two dungeons. So these dungeons, Cerberus, you have Xiao Jiwoo again, and then you can use her. I forgot her name. This is
not bad.
Nam Chae Young, right? You can use her, or you can also use Baek Yeon Hoo for this stage. So these three, pretty much, okay? So I'm just using this because it's faster to clear for me for this particular stage already. Okay, so again, Seojiwoo, Min Biangu, okay? And then this one also have Arachnid, and as you can see, for Arachnid you have him. And for global, this will probably be replaced by Chaharin, and you have Min Biangu again. So as you can see, these are the typical team comps: Cerberus, Arachnid. Okay, I'm just using all of this. Like there's no no other ones. All right, so those are for this: Cerberus, Arachnid. Okay, and for Lycan, for Igris. So you can rewind and see the team comps. And for Power of Destruction, this depends on the recommended element. But when I do it, it's the same thing. What I would do is I would do something like this. So instead of Emma,
Let's go.
the first team I'm going to be using this. Okay, this is my usual first team, and then I will change the weapon depending on the typing of the elements and the skills. The second one will be something like this usually. Either I'm using that, and if it's depending on the content, I will use something like this. Okay, and this will change into to him, or into him, or into him. Okay, just depending on the boss, how do you call it? The boss's weakness. Alright, so as you can see, only these 9, you just rotate them for a long time. Okay, and then until a better unit or a newer unit or a different mechanic comes along, then you change it. Okay, so that's the early stage tip for me. Sorry it takes a long time, but hopefully this will help, and you can always rewind. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, guys. I will upload more content and tips on how to beat all of the harder content here. I might try and reroll as well as another account that might be F2P just to try it out, but I'm not sure I want to really restart again from early access. The reason being is that to grind for the artifacts, like to grind for all of these artifacts, guys, it takes a long time. Okay, it takes a long time. And then you might still not get the right one. For example, Seojiwoo is water, and I'm wearing the light damage instead of water damage because the substats are better. Okay, so until they come up with the substat re-rolling, all right, or changing the substats, forget it. It's gonna take a long time, and to upgrade them to 20 also take a long time. Okay, so I'm not really keen on trying to restart it, but we'll see. I would rather just give you tips on the end game on what will work best rather than trying to, redo again, but then you have a lot of hiccups along the way. So, I've done those hiccups and mistakes, so I can give you some tips to avoid them, so it makes your account better. Okay, all right, that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.